Okay, guys, part two. and I'm hoping it's not gonna be a three or four and all that, but I do have a whole other chapter to read. So um, we were reading on verse 8, uh, talking about those sorcerers and those things that the elite have been using to run this world, basically. Idolaters. We know what idolaters are. These are not just people who are, you know, fans of Beyonce and Jay Z, and they're following celebrities and so forth. This is not just them. Idolaters are also those who are seeking power and money. And we were just talking about the elite. Well, there are many in this world who are looking and wanting and going after that type of position of power and elite status. Not even knowing, most of them, the evil and wicked things that these people do, the sacrifices, the blood sacrifices, the death sacrifices, the abortion sacrifices. I mean, these people are into some very, very wicked stuff. And you have many who idolize and who are trying to get to that status and attain that status. Just to be really honest, unless you're already born into those families, you're not going to get there. You might get close. You might be able to get, to some other level of, whatever sorcery you might want to use to get to some other level. But the stuff that's already set up in this world already with these elite families, no one's going to get there. These people, um, they were born into this stuff. So anyway, let me move on. We know what a liar is. They shall have their part in the lake of fire, burneth with fire and brimstone. And there came unto me one of the seven angels, with which had the seven vials full of the seven last plagues, and talked with me, saying, Come hither, and I will show you the bride, the Lamb's wife. As we said, that's Africa. When you do the research, that's Africa. It's also us. It's also talking about us. This new beautiful us as a bride, adorned and ready to live in this conscious state, to live and to see things new and differently, um, and to recognize and realize truth. So, and he carried me away in the spirit to a great and high mountain, and showed me the great city, the holy Jerusalem, descending out of heaven from God, having the glory of God, and her light was like unto stone, most precious, even like a jasper stone, clear as crystal. This that verse 11 right there, that light that is talking about, it's an illumination. Light illuminates, light opens up and shows, light shines. It makes you aware of things. So basically, when we start talking about this light, we're just talking about that heightened conscious state. That's all. Just that high level of illumination. Um, Having the glory of God. Okay, yes. Okay, we're on verse 12. And had a wall great and high, and had 12 gates, and at the gates 12 angels, and names written thereupon, which were the names of the 12 tribes of the children of Israel. Now, let me try to see if I can explain what came into my spirit when we start talking about these 12 tribes. We know everybody's not going to make it. Some people preach about the 144,000. I don't know. Um, I I don't know. But what came into my spirit about this this 12 tribes of the children of Israel, that is symbolic of those nations of people, because it's not just going to be black people. It's not. These nations of people who have reached that level of consciousness and reached that level of awareness in order to get in, and in order to, like I said, reach that level of consciousness and awareness. These are nations of people. There's 12 tribes of Israel. It's what it's talking about. Like I say, it's not, you got a lot of people who think, because black people have been done so bad, we're the only ones that's going to wake up and get here. No, there are those who have been on this conscious path. There are those who who are way far ahead of us in the study and living of consciousness, living in a conscious reality than we, especially African Americans over here in America. I mean, we are slow and we are really at the bottom of the totem pole. I mean, you have people in India, you have gurus, you have people in China, you have Buddhists, you have all of these people who have been living that type of life. Those in Africa, those of the Dogon people, and all of these people with these ancient secrets and ancient ways of living are already, a lot of them already at that state that they need to be, because that's really what it's about. It's not about going to a place. It's about reaching a level of consciousness and understanding. That's really what it's about, this new heaven. It's about reaching a new level of understanding, a full level of understanding, because we know understanding goes in degrees. We go through levels to get understanding, and to get to that place. There are those who've been on this track for a long, long time already. So, um, on the east three gates, on the north three gates, on the south three gates, and on the west three gates. And the wall of the city and had 12 foundations, and in them the names of the 12 apostles of the Lamb. And he that talked with me had a golden reed to measure the city, the gates thereof, and the wall thereof. And the city lieth foursquare, and the length is as large as its breadth. And he measured the city with the reed, 12,000 furlongs. The length and the breadth and the height of it are equal. And the building of the wall was of jasper. And the building of the wall of it was as jasper, and the city was pure gold, like unto clear glass. That's once again talking about understanding. When we go back, talking about, okay, no, let's go ahead and read this, and then I'll explain this. And the foundations of the wall of the city were garnished with all manner of precious stones. This is verse 19. The first foundation was jasper, the second sapphire, the third chalcedony, the fourth an emerald, the fifth saxodon, the sixth sardis, the seventh crystallite, the eighth beryl, the ninth a topaz, 10th crystophares. I'm really not good with these words, forgive me. A jacinth, and 12 an amethyst. And the 12 gates were 12 pearls. Every several gate was on one pearl, and the street of the city was pure gold, and it were as it were transparent glass. Okay, forgive my stumbling in the reading, but basically what this is talking about, it's basically the walls, the gates and all that. That's security. That is talking about a coming in, a holding in. The gates, the walls and all that is talking about getting, and you finally being and arriving at a place in your consciousness and understanding where you are protected. You are not going to have to go back. Nothing is going to come in and corrupt you. Nothing is going to come in and make you lose that conscious state. Right now, we see in this life that there are so many things right now that causes us to, we have distractions, we have TV, we have music, we have celebrity news, bombings, I mean, just all kinds of stuff, death, shooting cops, I mean, all kinds of things that come in and would mess with us, mess with our vibrations, mess with where we're trying to go, where we're trying to get to. When we finally get to and reach that level of consciousness that we're supposed to, we're not going to have those things. We're not going to have the news. We're not going to be distracted and have these uh, music and people coming at you with, certain lifestyles that you don't agree with. All that stuff is going to be done over and done away with. You're not going to have to worry about these outside influences coming in to try to mess you up, which is what we have right now. This is why we can't get to where we're trying to go faster, because we have so many distractions. We have so many things coming at us. We have so many things that are designed to throw us off and mess us up. And, it's just to keep us in these low states, keep us scared, keep us fearful, keep us, oh, well, why did this happen? I don't understand. Why are they killing and shooting unarmed black men? Once you finally get to that level, that full level of consciousness and understanding, you're not going to have that. You're not going to need to have those questions answered, because it's just not going to be anymore. It's just not going to be. You're not going to be with people, as I said, who are on a level so low that they would kill somebody. We just talked about murderers. Murderers are not going to be there. So these people who are vibrating on these low levels that kill and lie and steal and rob and work in greed and all that, they're not even going to be there. So yeah, the walls, the gates, all of these are letting you know that you're going to be secure and you're going to be protected. That's basically all that's talking about. Let's see here. Okay. I saw no temple. The Lord God Almighty and the Lamb are the temple thereof. I'm not really so much going to be getting into talking about the Lord God Almighty and the Lamb and all that kind of stuff. That I'm really just kind of going over that. We are the temple. We know that the body is the temple. The mind, the body. We are the temple. And so, that's what we're going to live in. Perfection in body and mind. And the city had no need of sun, neither of the moon to shine in it, and the glory of God did lighten it, and the Lamb is the light thereof. And like I say, this is all indicative and all talking about this higher conscious level. You're not going to need a temple. You're not going to need a temple. You're not going to need a church to go into. You're not going to need a man to stand up and teach you and tell you and talk to you about anything. It's already going to be in here. It's already going to be innate. You're already going to know at that highest level of consciousness. You're going to know. You're not going to need a teacher, preacher, politician to lie to you, a newscaster to come tell you anything. You're already going to know. You're going to live in your temple of understanding in the highest level of consciousness. And once again, it's talking about no need of the sun to shine in it, or the moon. The moon eliminates darkness. The moon, it doesn't eliminate darkness, but the moon gives you a way of being able to see within darkness. And you're not going to need that anymore, because like I say, you're the light. That light's going to be coming from you, your body, from the state that you're living and living in, the state that you're living in, the consciousness that you're living in. So you're not going to need any light, basically, is what it's saying. It's going to come from you. Understanding, full understanding. And I'm sorry that I'm moving so much, but my leg is falling asleep. So forgive me. Okay, so we talked about the light. We're on verse 24. And the nations of them which are saved shall walk in the light of it. Once again, we're talking about those nations of people who are going to all be together and have that full understanding. See, let me try to explain this real quick too. Right now, we're in a state where what man has done is separated everybody. We have one ruling class or race of people, for the most part, who enjoy the world. They go places, they do things, they whatever. Everybody else, for a lot of for the pretty much the all intents and purposes are pretty much separated from each other. I can't just go and get a boat and go and just go over to Hong Kong and talk to people and meet people and all this kind of stuff. Now, I could if I have money, but that's what we're talking about. We're talking about getting to a conscious level and to a state to where we don't need money anymore. The world needs to be free. The world is in bondage and has been in bondage ever since. Um, these people have come and taken over and held it hostage. The world, people don't even realize that people were traveling and living the world for thousands of centuries and getting around and going around on boats and all these kind of things before you start having to pay for plane tickets, and before you start having to uh, pay for passports, and you got to get this regulation and this shot to go here and all that. All that wasn't. This is all man-made, and it's all a way of greed and getting money. You know, and so uh, let's see where I am. So you're, like I said, I thought it was saying something about, yeah, the nations and the nations of it, and the nations of them which are saved shall walk in the light of it. And as I'm trying to explain, we're not going to be separated anymore. We're not going to be these people over here, those people over there, those people over there, and nobody knows each other. Nobody can get to each other. It's all going to be open and free for those nations who have made it and who have arrived. Right now, like I say, they have this world in utter bondage. They have this world in utter bondage for you to get to other places and see and talk to and meet other people. We're in complete bondage. We can't do that freely. Um, and the gates of it, verse 25, and the gates of it shall not be shut at all by day, and there shall be no night there. Once again, talking about the gates not being shut, we're talking once again of that security. There's not going to be a need to keep anything out. There's not going to be any danger. There's not going to be anything fearful. It's talking about security. There shall be no night there, no darkness, basically. No darkness, no misunderstanding, no lies, no, like I say, no distractions, no any of this. It's only light. It's only illumination. It's only the highest level of consciousness. And they shall bring the glory and honor of the nations to it. Once again, we're talking about nations. We're talking about people, and like I keep saying, we're not going to be the only ones. Black people are not going to be the only ones that reach this highest level of consciousness. And there shall in no wise enter into it anything that defileth, neither whatsoever worketh abomination or maketh a lie, but that which are written in the Lamb's book of life. So, once again, we're talking about getting to and reaching that highest level of consciousness. There's not going to be these things in it and coming into it that is going to defile us, defile our consciousness, defile our mind, defile where we are and what we have, the place that we've gotten to. I'm going to see if I can, in these next few minutes, get through chapter 22. I'm going to see. If not, I'll be doing a part 2. If I can get it to, if I can get this to go to chapter 22. Oh boy, I'm sorry. Trying to get my tablet to work right. Okay, it's not, I can't get it to turn the page. Gee, what's going on? Okay, that's chapter 21. I'm going to come back with chapter 22. So it's going to have to be a part 3. I really did not want to make a part 3 to this, but I can't seem to get my thing to work. So, um, I hope I explain that in a way that you all understand. I know that it's not something that you probably never have heard that in that way. But the thing of it is, Christianity and uh, this whole facade of Christianity, religion, the bondage of it, other religions, all of that, it's going away. We're not going to have a need for it in this new higher and highest level of consciousness. That you're not going to need religion anymore. And so this is why I say and encourage you to read books, study the stars, listen to people who have and have gained this understanding and who know. I listen to everybody, astrologers, I listen to everybody. And things are given to me by the Spirit. As you can see, I read the Bible, I read the Apocrypha, I read, what do you call that? The Aquarian Gospel, and so many other books I read. And like I say, I listen to people who have gained that understanding, because the knowledge and the wisdom is out there, and that's the only way that you're going to be able to get to the level of where you need to get to. Read upon the fifth dimension, read upon the planet Sirius, read about this whole 25,000 year era that we've left the age of Pisces and now we're in Aquarius and the whole thing. Read all that and get that understanding. But anyway, until the next time that I see you, I hope you got something out of this, and I ask that you would chime in and let me know what you think. And until the next video, we'll see you next time.